there's another matter too that has engaged our attention the whole of this week. It has to do with our power and the billing for the prepaid system. Well, the Electricity Company of Ghana today is raising alarm about the increasing losses from what it describes as political meters in parts of the country. Officials in the Ashanti region say such meters are installed at the instance of politicians without ECG involvement. Public Relations Manager Erasmus Shebedu says the company is unable to identify and bill such consumers for power. He told the Forum of Metropolitan Municipal and District Assemblies in Kumasi that over 70,000 of these meters have been captured since the year 2014.
Meters that have been installed in our system which have not passed through the proper channel for us to be able to capture them and record them appropriately so that we can produce monthly bills for them. In 2014 alone, we saw that about 25,000 of such meters were captured. That was 2014. Now, in 2015, from January to November, we captured about 44,848 of such meters. And together, I mean, if we put the two together, we are in the neighborhood of around, 70,000 of such meters. And that's a huge number. It is a problem to us because one, they are adding to our sales, but we cannot account for them because we don't know where they are. Two, they are adding to our losses because it's increasing our load on the feeders, and the load on the conductors, and so on and so forth.
So that's Erasmus Shebedu. He speaks for the ECG in the Ashanti region. It raises key questions about, one, who actually installed these meters and on whose authority, which politician actually is responsible for this? How is the ECG resolving this and to ensure that all the losses they've made within the period 2014 up until now is resolved? For the ECG, what are they doing to investigate this matter? As we know already that the PURC and the ECG themselves have been busy looking at what they describe as overbilling that has been complained about for some time now. And speaking of that, today in Parliament, we're expecting the Power Minister to appear before the Mines and Energy Committee to answer questions in relation to this overbilling system and what the PURC have done about it. Well, we spoke to the ranking member of the Mines and Energy Committee, Katie Hammond, who gave us his understanding of what has been done and also in relation to monies that have been paid by GMPC in dealing with our power problems in the country today. Listen.
By the provisions of the Petroleum Management Act, Petroleum Revenue Management Act, I think specifically Section 7, because of the amount of money the state is pumping into the activities of GMPC, it is mandated, required by that act to bring its program of activities to Parliament for approval. Essentially, we need to know what exactly GMPC is up to, what GMPC is doing within any particular year. I mean, we know the exploration activities in the Jubilee area, the 10 area, the Sankofa, the Bote, and on all those other things. So we need to know. I think it's also to keep the excesses of GMPC. You know, in the time gone by, GMPC would be doing all sorts of things that ultimately became a problem for government. So precaution has been taken that GMPC must bring their program of activities. Parliament should scrutinize and make sure that they are focused on their core functions and activities. That really is the basis of the report.
And what are your concerns? You had a lot to raise on the floor.
No, I had a lot to raise. You see, I've always said that, you know, you can't blame me. It's because of the problems that we encountered when the Kufuor administration took over took over the reins of government, and the time that I spent at GMPC. I mean, you know, I talked a lot about GMPC before 2001, GMPC, and I mean, I mean, the recklessness, the nonchalant attitude, the nonchalance, the pedestrian, like a day ago, GMPC wasn't run properly. I mean, you need to have a look at details of what went on. I mean, those of us who were privileged to have a good look, oversight of things that went out there at GMPC. Remember, what sadness, what happened. And so we, as much as possible, we're trying to be careful to make sure that GMPC, as refocused, concentrate on their core activities and not to extend their tentacles the way they did in the past. But look, I don't know whether we are failing or not, but GMPC, we wish them well. They want to become a very good, very lucrative state of, I'm not sure state of the nation, but state of the world, state of the art. No, but they want to become a first-class international oil company. Yes, we would want to help them, but to what use are they putting the public money that is given to them? Look, all the oil revenue, it's about a half or close to about a half of the money that we get from the oil production goes back to GMPC to plow in, to pay for their shares. Even when we are carried, when there's the government or GMPC is carried by the other companies to which they are in partnership, we still have to pay for our costs of production at a certain stage. They carry interest not for free altogether. It's free up to a certain stage. You have to pay. So they are giving some money. Quite a lot of money is given them. The worry that those of us on the committee and those who have known GMPs for a long time have is that to what use are they putting this money? That's a worry. That's what I raised. I mean, I mentioned, number one, the car power matter. It's not only car power. I mean, I was horrified to hear yesterday because we had met with the members of the board of Temoy Refinery Chief Executive the last time, our committee, and I think they were patting themselves on the back that they were doing quite well. They have cleared all the tail debts and all that. And then we come to hear, I mean, I hear for the first time the day before yesterday, I think so, that GMPC is bailed out to the tune of about 58 or so billion. We don't know about it. We haven't heard about it before. I mean, we know about the car power business. Car power, 100 million or something, $100 million. I mean, give to car power to the government. Well, I'm thinking GMPC has become a guarantee bank, a loan. They're operating a loan scheme. We don't really understand.
This same GMPC is looking for a loan to address its funding gap.
It makes the whole thing quite difficult to comprehend. In my heart is bleeding. We don't understand the GMPC thing, and so you don't want to attack personalities. We have a very good relationship. I mean, it has to be. There has to be a good relationship. I mean, we operate with them. We have oversight responsibility over them, but quite how some of these decisions are taken, we really don't understand. I mean, one of them, you recall, I raised it, so much money given to people who have left the corporation so many years ago. They call it whatever, millions. I mean, I said that it's become like money in their hands has become something like confetti. I mean, splashing it all over the place. We do really not understand. Give me, I mean, my colleagues were telling me, I mean, they are bailing this one out, they are bailing this one out, they are paying for this. What is it? They're building. They told us they want a state of the whatever. Everything is in the state of whatever.
Do you know how much they are spending on this new building?
They told us when we first had this meeting with them that they might require, actually they required more. Parliament, after the committee, after serious discussions with them, agreed that they could have a ceiling of about 40 million, whatever it is worth. They have one building.
Dollars,
we're talking dollars here.
To put up,
I mean, the pressure they put on us, they certainly think that oil is flowing, so they are in money swine. They want to do whatever they want to do.
But in this report, they are talking about the fact that they are yet to take a decision on it.
But that's not the point. The point is, along the line when we met again, these guys were telling some of us that we give it as the 40 million. We would not use 40 million. million. We are going for about 73 million for the building alone. I mean, look, you leave them, they will do it. Then we met again, and then you rightly make the point. Well, something else has come up. Apparently, government is taking a decision that there must be what they call an oil enclave. So all these oil companies are supposed to be located or relocated into the enclave. We don't know where the enclave is. That is a bit about GMPC stalling the activities on the proposed building and then concentrating on
this. We have heard
about
the airport city, where they want to locate their head office.
Pretty confused. Why? We don't know. We might be appropriately informed. If we are informed, we would we'll discuss that and see whether it's a better alternative or not. But the point about GMPC is that money it's recklessly been dissipated. You know, we should be careful. And I cite the example of what's going on in Brazil. The current president is in all sorts of difficulties because she was the chief executive of the Petro, what's the name? Petrobras. You know, and look at it, everybody's in trouble. We should be careful we don't go the same way.
When you met them at the committee level,
yeah.
These concerns that
we raise them.
Did they respond to them?
You see, there's a funny thing about it. How long are you going to stay in one room for a meeting? To the extent that time allows, we go through this. They seem to listen to what we're saying. They go out there, and I'm hearing for the first time that 58 million they are paying. I mean, who gave them the authority? Where did they get the money from? I mean, all these monies that they are splashing around, what is the authority for that? What is that? So, and you make the point, very critical point. These guys are going out there looking for loans.
Yes, and they're giving us so.
I mean, it's what I know, Zimmerman. I mean, I don't know. The juxtaposition of opposites. I mean, you don't quite understand exactly what GMPC is all about.
And what are they doing to get the 74 million that Ghana Gas owe them?
Well, that maybe is not entirely therefore. Ghana Gas did that, we throw back to the government itself. The energy system is confused, Elton. The energy system is confused. Yes.
So how do you think I game this?
Tim, let me deal with this one. I mean, how do we get there? But should that be very difficult? Ghana Gas, you sold gas, you bought gas from GMPC. Pay them. I mean, pay them. Ghana Gas is complaining. Well, we gave it to VRA. VRA is saying that we gave it to what we call ECG. I mean, we also gave part of it to Azogli. We gave to this and this. So it is the debt, recycling of debt. This owes this and hasn't paid. This owes this hasn't paid. Government is hasn't paid. I mean, what is the government doing? The government is there to pretend over all this, make sure that the right thing is done. Why is it that VRA cannot pay for the gas that it contracts or it buys from say Nigeria? I mean, from Ghana Gas. I mean, so it's Hydra headed problem, and we don't know how we deal with it. You said that, how do we deal with it? Well, that is for all of us to discuss. For you, the media, for us in Parliament, for government, for us to take a very serious decision on GMPC.
So that's the ranking member on the Mines and Energy Committee in Parliament, Kobna Tahir Hammond, telling us what came out of their deliberations with the GMPC Acting Chief Executive Officer, Alex Mould, among other things to do with our power sector and what they're doing with their investigations into why we're seeing a lot more power outages and the higher tariffs that we are paying in the country today. Now, the former Commissioner of Straj, Justice Elmi Short, is calling for a probe into allegations of collusion between police prosecutors and court staff to deliberately delay cases and profit from them. The Director of Police Prosecution Unit, ACP Edward Tabiri, revealed to Joy News the situation has led to a huge backlog of cases in court across the country. Now, there are hundreds of cases that have not been heard for many years due to lack of evidence and, in some instances, lost dockets.
We sent a circular to our regional offices for them to give us quarterly returns on all cases being investigated. And they should give us the title of the case, the person's name, that's accused name, the date that the case came to him as a prosecutor, the day the court mentioned it. You know, there's a difference between date of mentioning. You go to court, you present the case, it has been mentioned. But setting a date for hearing is a different thing altogether. But you can see that some of the cases can sit at that first point of mentioning, for about 6 months, no date has been fixed for hearing. That is where there's a collusion between the players in the justice delivery system. Here I can say that some court clerks, my own police officers, the prosecutors, and even somebody may be hiding somewhere and controlling things in court. So we try to do this mop-up and see who or which case is pending unnecessary in court. So that will be now liaising with the Chief Justice, with the Attorney General's office, with all the players, that how come this our case is not being heard? Then we can take it up there. So we are trying to, maybe if we do it properly, this thing will cease.
So is it to say or suggest that things will change under your watch as the head of the legal unit?
Not under my watch. It's a teamwork. We came and we all sat down and saw that, no, this won't work. So we wrote to the IG. Can you permit us to do this so that when people fought, we sanction them? So the administration gave us the go-ahead. So we are now implementing. The last quarter came, and we saw that a lot of cases are pending. So we have asked them in the subsequent returns to indicate why a delay of, say, 1 month or so. They should give under the remarks column what is holding on to the case. If people will say, take me to court, after all, take me to court, that means he knows what he can do in court with our prosecutors and some court clerks. I'm not blaming the judges. The judge does not receive the jackets if they don't put the case before him or her. He cannot go and fish it from the court records room. So we are trying to say that this collusion is almost always happening between our officers and the court officers. And that's a fact that has been established.
Now, the former boss of Shrine Justin Short is worried about the allegation and wants it investigated.
This is a very serious allegation because it amounts to subversion of the criminal justice system. It amounts to violation of the rights of people, accused persons. It denies their rights to a speedy and fair trial. And he should sanction his officers, and he should draw attention of the Judicial Secretary and the Chief Justice to this collusion. There needs to be close collaboration between the courts, the police service, and the prison service. Because when a case is called for the first time in court, it is when it is mentioned for the first time. Normally, either the person is given bail and has to report within a stated period, normally 2 weeks, or the person is remanded into custody. And in that case, a date will be fixed for the person to reappear in court. So now there should be monitoring by the Judicial Service, the police service, as well as the prison service, if the person is remanded into custody, to make sure that the date on which the case has been fixed, the accused person is taken to court. And in the past, I've heard allegations of the prison service saying that the police did not come to take the prisoner to court. The police did not have a vehicle to collect the prisoner. In some cases, the police officer in charge of the case has been transferred, and the case has not been properly handed over to another police officer. In some cases, the docket has been lost. All kinds of excuses have been given. So I think what is important is that there should be monitoring by all three institutions, the Judicial Service, the Police Service, as well as the Prison Service, to make sure that cases are brought to court on the days that they have been fixed for hearing. There may be other problems in terms of the backlog of cases that judges have to deal with. And that is why we have the Access to Justice for All system, whereby the Chief Justice has launched a system whereby judges go to the prison to sit in the prisons and hear cases. So some effort has been made to alleviate the problem, but there are serious bottlenecks which have to be addressed. But this particular allegation of collusion, I think, is a serious one which has to be looked at much more closer.
Right then, so that's the former boss of Sri Justice Short speaking to us earlier today on Joy News Desk. At this point, we'll go for a break. When we come back, I'll tell you why the IGP is proposing that on November 7th, you and I may not have access to Facebook, Twitter, and all other social media platforms as part of a security plan. Details of that and more after the break. Stay with us.